So hi guys and welcome back. Today we will take a look at the new board cam, CCD board cam by Foxeer, and in this case it's the Foxeer XAT650M CCD camera. That looks nice. It has an IR block like the usual cams. It is the PAL version of it. You can also get it in NTSC. It's a regular 600 DVL camera, which we all like and love for the low latency. It supports a wide input power of 5 to 22 volts, and it comes with a 2.8mm lens, and you can also select another lens. Please just check the link below. But this is all not what makes this camera special. So let's take a look at what we have inside here. And basically, yeah, what we first see is your regular video out cable and power in cable for the camera here. Then it comes as usual from Surveil Zone with a really nice manual. So you can see I will just quickly go through it. So if you are interested in any of these information, simply press stop now and you can read it. You can see that yes, it does come with an OSD, which lets you have all the settings which you like to set on your board cam. As you can see on the bottom right, this comes with the Sony Super Head 2 chip, which is more or less state of the art for these kinds of cameras. So this is really great. So just quickly let you go through this manual here. Let's have the day and night settings. So basically all you love from your basic Sony Super Head based cameras. And this is still not what makes this camera special. It's also not that second video power cable here, which it comes with. So another thing which does this camera not make special is the OSD controller, but it's really nice to have that included. We will take a look at the OSD itself in a second. But now let's come to the real interesting part, which is the camera. And here you can see it. And what you can see is this is not your regular sized CCD camera, but it comes in a very, very different format. So instead of the usual large sized camera, this is much smaller, but also longer. So before we take a look at the specific size measurements of this, let's take a look at the weight. And here we can see this comes at 14 grams, which is more or less a common weight for the CCD based cameras. Of course, CMOS based cameras are much lighter, but they all come with their own disadvantages when it comes to WDR or low light and contrast. So this is it for the weight of it. And now let's go back to the interesting fact, which is the actual size of it. So for your comparison, I have here let's say regular sized CCD camera. This comes with a regular 32mm times 32mm size factor. And let's get the Foxeer here, and you can see, yes, that is much smaller. But let's see by how much this is smaller, and then we will try fitting it to some of the smaller frames, which it is meant for. Yeah, let's focus it. 32mm times 32mm size, and in length, let's take a look as well, this comes at about 22mm. And now let's take a look at this one here. And we can see here we come down to about 18 millimeters. Yeah. And for the width of it, which also includes these screws with the standoffs here, we are at 27 millimeters. And for the length of it, including this connector in the end, we are at about 40 millimeters. So yes, it's longer, but also much smaller when it comes to the width and height of it. So now let's take a look at why Surveil Zone did this camera. Of course, they did it because they wanted to enable a micro quad or a small quad, sub 180 size quad users to also use a CCD camera. So let's start, you know, like the Wartons, with the largest one, which I have here. And this is actually the Lizard 180 from Diatone. And here you can see it has this lower height. So my regular sized CCD camera will already have, it will not easily mount here because it's simply too large in height. So that will not work. I won't get that on there without major modifications. And this one from Surveil Zone, this will mount just fine. I will just show it to you. So I can, for example, just slide it in here. Just to refocus that for you. I can slide it in here. I can mount it with a bit of a tilt, so you can just use, double-sided tape or something like that for it. And it has a little room also here for play, so that will mount fine with not much work with this Lizard 180. But of course, this is not only made for 180 frames, but for smaller frames. So what we have here, for example, is the Spatcher 150 frame. So that's a 150 sized frame. So that's already a bit more of a challenge for this camera. So let's see it again. I will just try to fit it. And yeah, so like for the Lizard frame, with a bit of double-sided tape, you can even fit it with a nice tilt here, you can see. So even that with this 150 size frame will work nice, and you will have a nice CCD camera on this frame, and not one of the cheaper but also less quality CMOS cameras. So also for this 150 frame that will work nice. But now we are going to the biggest challenge of this little camera. So it's time for being a bit dramatic. And this is this little air blade assault frame, which is a 130 size frame, which is really tiny. And well, I wouldn't have thought that this camera might fit, but in fact, with a bit of tinkering around, it will. Because first, I will show it to you for the standoffs here. Yes. So for the height of it, okay, just refocus that for you. This will work. So for the height, there is no problem. But what is a bit of a problem is the width of the lens actually. Because you have these two standoffs here and that just won't fit in. So even if we take that off, it will still not quite fit in, but it actually does, because you know the top of the lens is a bit from the width, has a bit more width than the screws here, the windings of the lens, and that's why it will actually fit in, as you can see here. I hope you can see it. So you will just have to take this frame apart, and you will be able to fit this camera in here. That's really amazing, because that means you can actually have a CCD camera with a Sony a super head chip on this little Airblade Assault 130 size frame. So I will just quickly set this up for you to show it to you. Okay, so I've quickly set this up for you, and you can see, yeah, that fits in nicely, and you can even give it a bit of a tilt, as you can see, and it will still fit nicely. So this is really amazing for you guys who want to have a Sony Superhead CCD based camera on your small Airblade 130 A-Blade Assault frame, or other 130 frames probably. So this is really nice. This is really nice, because we all know those give a bit of a better quality than those CMOS cameras. You can also see here the holes for mounting your flight controller. This will still work. It's a tight fit, but well, everything on a 130 size frame is a tight fit, but this will still work with the standoffs. And yeah, that is pretty amazing. So I wouldn't have thought that this camera would even fit a 130 frame. Yes, I knew it would fit a 180 and 150 frame, but for the 130 size frame, that's pretty nice. So this concludes my initial bench review of this really small, I would say mini-sized Sony Superhead based CCD camera. And well, this is a great alternative for your micro frames if you want to have real good contrast, real good VDR, and basically a real good board camera quality, maybe for racing or for, well, more serious applications, you know. So this is really nice. I hope you liked it as well. We will in the future do latency tests of this, of course, but as this is a Sony Superhead 600 DVL camera, it should be great. And some resolution tests, but that will all come in the future. I hope you liked the video so far. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up, please subscribe to my channel, and I'm really looking forward to see you next time.